everybody and welcome. We are here for week 26 of the Altered Index 2025 challenge. This is the challenge that I'm running in my Facebook group, Nonstop Papercrafts, and of course on my channel here. There are lots of others that are taking part. If you search up the Altered Index 2025 hashtag, there are some people posting their videos on YouTube. There are some people sharing on Instagram. But thankfully we've got lots of people sharing in the Nonstop Papercrafts Facebook group as well. So if you're looking for some more inspiration, if you're stuck for ideas on some of these prompts, then yeah, go and check out everybody else, see what they're up to. There are lots and lots of people, like I said, joining in and lots of inspiration to be had. So as I said, we are on week 26. The prompt for this week is questions. So I have got a few bits ready. So I was thinking I'm going to use this book here, which is a quote stickers book. I quite often get asked where I got this from. At first I thought it was Amazon, but when I've kind of Googled sentiment books in Amazon, this one doesn't come up. There are very similar books, so you can get these types of books on Amazon. But after actually looking through, I think I've actually got this one possibly from Temu. But again, if you type in quote sticker books, you'll find sort of different variations of this. But yeah, I love this book just because it's got so many different ones. You've got them in black, you've got them in white, you've got them in then different colours, so greens, blues and neutrals. And then at the back you've got them in black and white again, but they also then have the gold foiling, which I really like. So yeah, this is a really great book, and I'm going to be using one of these quotes today. I'm also going to be using a stencil. I've got that the wrong way around, I think. Yep. So I'm going to be using a stencil. This is a numbered stencil. I'm going to be using some, well, it's supposed to be texture paste, but it's actually a modelling paste, but it does the same thing. So I'm going to be using that. I'm going to be using the colour blue today. And I'm actually going to do, hopefully, what will be quite a nice effect. So I've drawn out my little question mark, since questions is the prompt. So I've drawn out a question mark. I am going to cut this out, but I do want to add all of my kind of colour and texture paste and everything to this card. Then I'll cut out my question mark, and then I'm going to decorate this a little bit and then have that kind of laying over the top. That's the plan anyway. So first of all, I want to add some colour. So I'm just going to grab, I've obviously got my inks, but I do want to water them down a little bit to be able to put on here. So I'm just going to grab a stamping block that I usually use. So this is just an old stamping block. So this is one I'm going to use. I'm going to start with the kind of lighter blue first. I'm just going to dab some of that on. And then I'm just going to give it a bit of a spray just to water that down. Now this card that's on the bottom, this is just normal cardstock, but this is a mixed media paper, so it has got, you might be able to see it on there, a kind of texture to it. This is obviously going to pick up the colour really well, and it stops it from really warping. I mean, you will still get some warp when I kind of dry it, but it kind of stops it a little bit. So I'm just going to put some of this lighter blue on, let it kind of drip around a little bit. I'm just going to give that a quick dry with my heat gun, and then we can put the next layer on. Okay, so there's the card dry, and I quite like where we've got these darker areas as well. I am just going to scoop up some more of this ink. I'm just going to pop some more on there, some more colour. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the darker blue as well. So a little bit on there again. I'm just going to give it a bit of a squirt to water it down. And I'm going to mix in some of that on here as well, just so we get some darker blue around it. I'm trying to go for perhaps more of the edges. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So again, just going to give that a quick dry with the heat gun, Okay, so that's the card all dried. I think I'm going to do a little bit of it stamping in the background. Then, as I said, I want to use this, or instead of stamping, I might do some stenciling. So I'm going to use this. Let's grab my brush. And I'm using this one. I mean, this is a numbers. It's got all different sort of numbers on there. And I thought this might be quite good because obviously when we're asking questions, it could be, I don't know, mathematical questions, working out timetables, that kind of a thing. So I thought this one might be quite good. I have a few different stencils that I was kind of toying with, but some of the others I've used a lot before. So I was just trying to maybe use something a little bit different. So using the darker blue, I'm then going to just rub areas of this. Now it doesn't have to be all of the areas, but just a few different places around the stencil. Like so. Yeah, so something like that. And then I am going to use the same stencil, but this time I'm now going to use the paste. So I just want to wipe this down first. Do apologise if you can hear coughing in the background. I've got my daughter in the room and she's got a bit of a cough. I must admit, I feel a bit croaky today as well. I think there must be a bug going around. Right, okay, so that's kind of cleaned. It might be that obviously when I do the paste, it might pick up some of the colour as well. That's not obviously too much of an issue. That will still work. So let's grab one of these and we can start adding some paste. So as I said, this is a modelling paste. It was just cheaper than buying the texture paste, but it works in exactly the same way. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a mix up because it's been sitting for a little bit. I'm just going to get a little bit of it. And again, I'm using the same numbers. I'm not going to be changing it up too much. And I'm going to bring it down here. And I'm going to just stencil it on. Okay, so I've got a bit there, and I might put some here. I mean, obviously at the moment I can't see where the question mark is, so I'm just kind of hoping that some of this might be in the gaps. But it just adds a little bit more texture. Okay, so we've got that. Yeah, I think that'll work. Right. So again, I'm just going to give this a little bit of a clean and then we'll come back, cut this out and work on the bottom section. Right, okay, so now we're going to cut out the question mark. So I think I'm going to have to just kind of draw back over it just so I can kind of see where it is. So it comes round here. Now I did just hand draw it, so I mean if you've got a die that has a question mark, you could perhaps use one of those. I didn't have a die that's a question mark, so that's why I just had to go at kind of drawing my own. That comes in there, around there. It's about there, isn't it? So I'm going to cut into some of this paste and around there. Right, okay, I think I know where I'm going. So I'm using this tool, which I absolutely love. And I'm just going to pick a start point and start cutting around. So I'm just going to follow that line as best I can. like I said, it is a kind of rough sketch, so I'm trying to go just outside of the line. Did I cut that? I did cut that. Yeah, I'm just trying to go just outside of the line. Can't see where I am there. Comes up about there. And then that way, at least on my final piece, you're not going to see the pencil mark line at all. Now, normally I have some people that are slightly ahead of me, so they would have done, they sometimes do their cards before me, but I haven't seen any yet for this particular prompt, so I haven't seen any question ones yet. However, I am recording this a little earlier in the week than I usually do. But as I say, check out the Non-Stop Papercrafts Facebook group, because that's where you'll be able to see everybody else's cards. Right, so we've got that part. Now I just need a little circle down at the bottom. So I'm just going to go around. As I said, I think this craft knife is absolutely brilliant. I think the control on it is so much easier than trying to do it on a different, like a standard craft knife. I think this is brilliant. Right, okay, so I've got that. And the nice thing is I can use this for another mixed media project. So I'm going to put this away somewhere. Oh, look how much paste and ink I've got on my fingers. Right, let's put that away. So this is what I'm going to use, just making sure that you're still in shot. That's going to go in here. Right, so what I'm going to do is lay it on top, and then I'm just going to very gently just kind of go around the outline a little bit. And it is very gently. Right, okay. Then what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to write some question words. So when, how, why, that kind of a thing. So I need a fine liner. Let's see if I can find one. I think I am just going to go with black. And I don't mind if my writing's a little bit wonky or whatever, but I'm just going to write those words as I said. So let's think. So we've got why, how, when, if, do, how, why, when, if, do. You got does, but I don't want to keep repeating that. Can. Then I can have does. Then I can carry on again, can't I? So we can have why, how, when, if, do, can. Okay, so there's all of my writing. So when I lay this over, you've got all your kind of question words on there. So that's going to get stuck down. So I'm going to do that now. So turn that over. And then I'm just going to glue this straight down. Now, you could be fancy and make this into a shaker card. I'm not going to do that on this occasion because I do want it to be reasonably flat. Okay, so that's my glue. I'm just going to flip that over. Like I said, that's going to go, oops, a bit straighter, but on there like so. go, and I think that looks quite effective like that. I actually quite like it. Right, what I am going to do though is go around the outside. So I think I might use my fine liner. And I'm just going to trace around. What I probably could have done actually was ink around the edge. Before sticking it down, but here we are. So I'm just going to draw around, and I think that just makes it kind of stand out a little bit more. So just going all the way around. Oops. There we go, all the way around. I'm going to do the same in the circle. There we go. That just helps make it kind of stand out that little bit more. So now I've done that, I just want my sentiment, and I was going to go for this one, wonder always. Because obviously it's important to always question things, isn't it, and to wonder about things. So I'm going to go with that one. And yeah, I think I might actually split it into two. I might have to do it at a slight angle actually, because it's got a slight italic to it. So I'm just going to do it so it's the same for both. I'm going to have always... Oops, make sure it's straight. And then this one. And put this side. So we've got wonder always. Okay, well there we are. That is my card 26. So I'm really happy with that. I really love that background. I really love the blues actually, and just having those kind of question words behind. I think that represents question really, really well. I really like this card. I like that it's flat, and obviously I'm able to still write on the back. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you have enjoyed this. If you are taking part, remember to use that hashtag. That way myself and others can find you. If you're only just finding this challenge, you certainly do not need to catch up if you don't want to. Just jump right in where we are today. And then, as I said, just make sure that you are posting in the Non-Stop Papercrafts Facebook group. We would love to be inspired by your work. Even if you don't want to post your project, it would still be obviously fantastic for you to craft along. I did start this challenge because I wanted to firstly challenge myself. That's why I have different prompts. They're not prompts that I chose because I thought they'd be easy. I did these because I thought they would challenge me. It's also a great way for me to actually use my stash. I've got so many different things, things like the modelling paste and things like that that I don't use particularly often but want to get into. So I thought this would be a great way to use up my stash as well. And it's just to experiment and have some fun. So if you have enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. If you are not already a subscriber, I would really love for you to do so. Please make sure that when you click that subscribe button, you're also clicking the bell. That way you are notified of any new crafty videos. Once again, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.